have been so amazing in getting ready and in waiting for. He is someone who is a published author. He's written a book called Standing Tall. He's someone who reached the summit of the tallest mountain in Africa, Mount Kilimanjaro. He's someone who's walking all the way from Edmonton to Calgary to raise funds for clean water. Get ready to make some noise for Spencer!
I just want to take a second to do a couple quick thank yous. First, the Free the Children staff that has supported us this entire time and made all of this possible. We can just take a second to give all the Free the Children staff and the volunteers a big, big, big round of applause. Now, what I wanted to talk to you about today, guys, number one, I want to thank you for letting us come take over your school. You guys having a good time? We are so grateful for the support, and thank you for all the beautiful posters that are all around your school. Your school's so massive, I haven't even actually had time to see every single poster, but I just wanted to say thank you so much for taking the time to make us feel so welcome. We're so honored to be here today. Now, with my journey and with any journey, it comes with support. And from the time that I was born, support has been something that has been key to not only my life, but now to the work that I do as well, which is why we're here to celebrate with you guys right here at Johnny Bright School. Now, I thought maybe I would start by answering the question, which I'm sure is on a lot of your minds right now, and that is, of course, where are my legs? So obviously, I don't have any legs, but I was born with legs, but I was born with a genetic disease that caused the muscles in my legs not to work. So at the age of 2, they were removed at the knee in hopes that I could use artificial legs and get around that. But unfortunately, that didn't work out. So at the age of 5, they removed just below my pelvis, which is basically what you see now. Now, after my surgeries, my family and I were told by the doctors that I would never sit up by myself. We were told that I would never walk by myself. And we were told that I probably wouldn't be a functioning member of society. Basically, we were told that there was no hope for me. But my family and I refused to believe that. So we set to prove to only ourselves, but the rest of the world, that we could start by redefining what's possible for me. Now, I currently live in Toronto, but I'm originally from the United States, and I grew up in the state of Wyoming, which is right up there in the corner, which is so close to Alberta. We're almost neighbors, which is so great. And I had what I consider to be a normal childhood. Things that were most important to me growing up were counting down the days until summer, riding my skateboard with my friends, and of course, playing Nintendo. Now, I never thought it was different until I went out in public. And every time I went out in public, whether that was to a grocery store or simply just on a walk around the neighborhood, people would point and whisper. And the first 2 questions that I used to get, not only as a kid, but even today, are where are your legs? How do you use the washroom? And can you drive a car? I mean, imagine coming to your first day of school and meeting somebody for the first time and saying, oh, nice to meet you. How do you use the washroom? It's a bit uncomfortable, right? What I began to realize is that people, they weren't seeing me as a person. So in order to get them to see past this, I needed to start answering these questions. So when I got the question, how I lost my legs, I would tell them, the question, how you use the washroom, I use it just like everybody else, thank you for being so concerned. And of course I can drive a car, I got these wicked hand controls that are connected to the gas and the brake pedal, and that's how I drive. But I wanted to be known for more than that. And I'm just as guilty as anybody else. When we first see each other, we see each other in the physical form, skin color, hair color, all those sorts of things, but it's what we do after that that's important. So of course, I don't have any legs, and I'll tell you how I lost them, but I'd rather be known that my name is Spencer West. That I'm a motivational speaker, I'm an author, I climb the largest mountain in Africa, I'm a son, I'm a grandson, I want to be a dad someday. All of those things make up who I am. Just like all the things that each and every one of you care about make up who you are. Now, when it came time for school, I'll be honest, my favorite subjects in school were music, English, and drama. But there were 2 subjects that I dreaded going to every single day. For those that are teachers, I mean no offense. And those are likely subjects, I mean no offense either. Because I had great teachers. But I was a terrible math student. So I dreaded going to math class every single day, and I also dreaded going to gym class. And the reason I started going to gym classes every single day, I would have to watch two team captains, pick person after person after person to be on a team, until I was the only one left. And then somebody would finally pick me, but not because they wanted me on their team, but because they had to. And I would walk over to that team, and I would have groans and moans, and people would say, "Oh great, Spencer's on our team. I guess we're not going to win today." As I got older, one student in particular thought it was funny when I was going down the hall to grab the back of my wheelchair, so it would stop abruptly, my books would fall on the floor, and then I would tumble out after. When it came time for high school, in order to be considered a good student at my high school, you don't only had to be good at academics, but you had to be a good athlete. So of course, I wanted to be considered a well-rounded student, so I decided to join a sport, to prove to myself and my community that I could play. I thought, okay, well, what sport should I play? I thought, well, maybe I'll play football, but I thought, well, let's be honest. Take that football and turn it this way. We're about the same size. I thought, well, maybe I'll play basketball, but as I recently learned, so I was probably going to get that I didn't play basketball. I had the opportunity to meet Shaquille O'Neal. This guy's massive. If I would have played basketball, I would have been destroyed. So I did the next best thing that seems the obvious choice. I can't play these sports. I became a cheerleader instead. Because I figured if I couldn't be on the court, I would do the next best thing and be on the sidelines. But one day while cheering at a game, I heard a girl from the crowd say, "What's Spencer doing out there? This isn't a disabled team." And I remember hearing that and thinking, wow, that's a weird word to use to describe me. I'd never used that word before because in my mind that meant that I was limited in some way, that there was something that I couldn't do. And my friends and I used to joke that the only thing that I couldn't do was ride a bike. Even then I got bikes that cut off your hands. So I could ride a bike. So I refused to let her label me or tell me what I could or couldn't do. And later that year we went to the Wyoming State cheerleading competition, where I'm proud to say that our squad took first place as the #1 squad out of the entire state. I wanted to show you a quick clip of what a routine looked like, but let me set this clip up by saying that I graduated high school quite a while ago. The quality of this clip isn't the greatest. It's literally my mom up in the bleachers with one of those old VHS recorders with only 2 hands. I'm sure only the teachers will remember. But you can still get a sense of what a routine looked like and what we did. And I moved from Salt Lake City to Phoenix, Arizona because I was tired of the winter and I needed some sunshine. Now I live in Canada. So back to the winter, but it's fine. I actually really, really like it here. Now when I moved to Phoenix, I had everything that society and the world told me that I needed to be happy. I had a good paying job. I was the first person out of all my friends who knew iPod Touch when it came out. I was the first person of all my friends who had the Nintendo Wii when it came out. I had clothes, I had a car. My best friend and I rented the coolest house. And the reason it was considered the coolest house, at least amongst my friends, because we had this in our backyard. Yeah, we had a pool in Phoenix. If you don't have a pool in your backyard, you're not cool. So we had a pool. And even though I had all these things that society and the world tells us that we need to be happy, I still wasn't happy. And in December of 2007, a good friend of mine named Reed called and invited me to go on a Me2We trip to Kenya to help build a school for Feed the Children. And at first I was like, what? I told my friend Reed, I said, Reed, remember, standing on my hands, I'm 2'7" tall. I'm pretty sure that's a snap to half the animals in Kenya. I don't want to give Meals on Wheels, thank you. But my friend told me on his first trip to Kenya, he found happiness and purpose in his life. And that's what I'm looking for. So I decided to go to Kenya. And of course, you've heard a lot of the things that we've talked about today. I learned that many girls had to walk really far to collect water. As Mama Monica so eloquently said, I actually helped one of the mamas and the girls carry water back to their house. And it's a pretty humbling experience when we here in North America can go to the drinking fountain, the tap, and we've got clean water. Then to walk all the way to a river and all the way back. 3 times a day. On top of that, I got to tour their schools. This was their school. It was literally crumbling around them. No walls, no windows. They didn't even have a chalkboard. In fact, many times they were just writing in the dirt on the wall. But these kids didn't care. They would walk many kilometers just to cram into these little teeny desks, just for a small piece of education. And if you notice, the floors in these schools are dirt, so if it were raining that day, the floors would be muddy. But these kids didn't care. They would sit in the mud to go to school. That's how much education meant to him. And I'll be honest, when I saw this, I thought this is overwhelming. There's no way that I as one person can make a difference. I don't even know how the world got this way, let alone what I can do to fix it. And that's when I learned about Free the Children. That's when I learned about my buddy Craig, who read a newspaper article and wanted to do something about it. And he started this incredible organization called Free the Children. And how they break the cycle of poverty is through something that they have called Adopt a Village, which I wanted to show you just a quick video of what that looks like, not only in Kenya, but in some of the other countries that we work in. My facilitator, who's actually here today, Robin Vizawadi, she was the person who led me on my very first volunteer trip. That's how I learned how I as one person could make a difference, was through Adopt a Village, and we were there to help build a school for that education piece, so that's what we did. We literally built the school, brick by brick from the ground up. We took that school that you saw before that didn't have any walls or windows, and we turned it into a school that now looks like this instead. On top of that, I saw the clean water projects, which are right at the school, so now girls could come to school, get an education, but still collect water and bring home clean water to their families. Not only that, but I had the opportunity to meet Mama Leia and learn how they feed and how they make an alternative source of money through the beautiful jewelry that we've all been wearing, which is so cool. Now, all this is really inspiring, but to be honest, the moment that changed my entire life forever is when we went to community welcoming. And to get to this community welcoming, we had to walk up a long dirt road that turned into a steep hill. And on either side of the road were community members of all ages, and they were clapping and singing. And we were told to shake the hands of each person as we went up the road. Now, because the hill was so steep, I was having a hard time pushing myself and shaking hands at the same time. As I continued to struggle, I felt a little hand grab the back of my wheelchair and gently start to push. And when I turned around, it was a 5-year-old boy. I didn't ask him to. He saw that he needed help and he decided to take action. Pretty soon, a little girl joined us, and then another little boy, until there were 4 or 5 boys and girls pushing me up the hill that day. I learned 2 very important lessons from these kids. The first is that it doesn't matter how old you are or where we come from, that we all have the ability and the responsibility to help others. And the second thing that I realized is that we can climb a hill on our own, but it's a lot easier and a lot more fun to do it with people that will support you. Now, just like my parents had supported me, I now wanted to support Free the Children and do whatever I could to continue to send help to these beautiful women in Kenya and to all the incredible kids that I met. So I was humble enough to join the Free the Children team, and over the last 5 years I've traveled around the world sharing these stories. I've also spent my last almost 5 summers now in Kenya with Mama Leia and Mama Monica and Robin and some of the other Free the Children team leading our volunteer trips. Now, after 3 years of telling students just like you guys, you need to get involved, you need to fundraise, it didn't seem right for me to tell you guys that when I never run a campaign myself. So as you heard, with my 2 best friends, David and Alex, we came up with a campaign called Redefine Possible, where we're going to climb the largest mountain in Africa, Mount Kilimanjaro, and in doing so, raise over $500,000 for sustainable clean water. And that's where I really learned about this idea of clean water, which I've already talked about. How far girls have to walk to collect water, how people are getting sick because of the water that they're drinking, how the mamas are spending so much time collecting water they can't make an alternative way to make money. I learned all of these things that we've talked about here today. And this last June, my buddies and I set out to climb Kilimanjaro. And as you heard, Kilimanjaro was not only physically and mentally demanding, but as we got towards the top, my buddies got hit with massive altitude sickness. and you saw them puking in that video, which you guys are the first group to ever see that. Was that gross? That's pretty gross, right? Yeah. But they made it. So what was really great is my buddy supported me halfway up, but at the top, they needed my help. And I stood in between them. And I said, boys, this journey started with the three of us, and it's going to end with the three of us. And this is what happened next.
We started to head up the mountain to Little Peak, and that was a shock. It was snow, all snow.
I told you guys back in Toronto. Get to a point where it's physically demanding, and that's when we'll meant to push. Take those steps, those final steps. You guys are experiencing it now.
Both Alex and David really struggling. Alex was like falling to his knees.
Okay.
And every step was excruciating.
Okay.
I was exhausted. My arms were killing me. My hands were numb from standing on them. We walked so far. And I just tried to muster up everything that I had left.
Someone coming, save your life.
This is for every kid that has been bullied. This is for every kid who had a disability who felt like they couldn't do things that didn't belong. This is for every person who felt they couldn't change the world. This is for every person who felt like they were lost in their journey. This is for every person who's ever tried to figure out what their life is about. I was told I would never walk or be a functioning member of society. And I'm at the top of the largest freestanding mountain in Africa. This is for you.
But we realize there's so many communities around the world that still need our help. And so that's why we're here today. We're launching this incredible journey called We Walk for Water, where my buddies and I are starting right here. You guys in the school, we're starting, and we're so grateful to be here, so grateful for the support. I know that you guys are going to walk with us as well, which we're so excited, in solidarity around your school, which is so awesome. Now, we wanted to be able to continue to bring clean water to communities all around the world. That's why Feed the Children launched this year a campaign where we're trying to bring clean water to 100,000 people for life. And that's what we're trying to do. And in solidarity with you, with your support, we are so grateful for everything that you've done. I want to leave with one last story. I'm going to make it quick. It's this idea of a cairn, which is what we learned on the mountain. Now, a cairn is a pile of rocks that we kept passing along the route up Kilimanjaro. And we learned that cairns are made by climbers to not only leave their mark, but they are a symbol. But when you are lost, they literally show the path again. My buddies and I saw this similar, we realized that we were a cairn. Our climb was a cairn for the world that I, Spencer West, was told would never walk or be a functioning member of society and climb the largest mountain in Africa. What more can we all do to make the world a little bit better of a place? And what we're looking for from you guys now is to join us in being Cairns where we walk for water. As you're walking today, remember Mama Leigh and Mama Monica, how far that they've talked about having to walk to collect water. The difference that you guys will make today by walking and doing donations and wearing graffiti chains and all those sorts of things. Thank you for joining us and being a Cairn. We are so grateful for the incredible support that you guys have done here at Johnny Bright. Thank you for hosting us. Thank you for all the work that you've done and will continue to do. And I just want to take a second to give you guys just a big round of applause for all